All right, here we go, guys. Game number 3 with our series tied up 1-1. Straight into our intros we shall go. First off, going to be spawning as our Red Terran over here in the northeastern position on the map Daybreak. We're going to have Kawaii Light, formerly known as Kawaii Rice, of course. And then his opponent going to be spawning down here in our southern position is going to be our Blue Protoss of Complexity Gaming's Minigun. So here we go. Game number 3 should be pretty exciting.
Yeah,
what do
it's
you
Daybreak.
think?
TVP on Daybreak is has the potential to be an extremely exciting match. So we're gonna have to see what unfolds. There always is the potential, you know, for some really heavy based gateway timings from a Protoss player, no matter what map you're on. But GSL does lend itself towards more macro-oriented play. So looks like Kawaii like gonna just be walling off this ramp ever so slightly. And this could mean we see something along the nature of an in-base command center, denying Minigun the ability to see such a thing, because this also is a map where we do see players do the one-on-one. You have the ramp in a more forward position, you can get away with it. It's not Antigua where there's almost no success. Now, it is a really large map, but it does have some better ramp positioning. So it at least has a chance, and you could really catch your opponent off guard with it because it's a map where they might not see it coming.
Yeah, although he has not taken any gas just yet, so I'm thinking this is just going to actually be a one-racks expand play here out of Kawaii. Just wants to hide it from Minigun. Leave Minigun guessing, which definitely can hurt a Protoss in the early game when they can't get that vital gas information from the Terran player to really know what direction they are heading in. So I like that play. I like when Terran players will go for that fast wall. If anytime you can deny information from your opponent, it can be so huge as you move into the latter stages of the game. Because right now we actually see out of Minigun just going to be dropping down his cybernetics core. Hasn't started saving any money for an expansion nexus just yet. Still 3 probes on gas. So Minigun being forced to play blind early on here. Probably going to wait until he knows for sure exactly what Kawaii is doing before he really 100% commits to that expansion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of game 1, and you know, in game 1 it was the same situation. He was blind and he expanded because there's really not much of a potential for a Terran pressure on a map like Antigua. But here, possible. Minigun may need to play a little bit safer. We don't see him expanding quite yet. He's making a Stalker. Yeah, he's definitely already playing this safer than he did on Antigua. So aware of the possibilities of threats here from Kawaii. But yeah, I mean, Kawaii's now got his expansion halfway done. I did want to mention, guys, I don't know that we threw it in the intros. I'm Kibbles casting today with Nersky.
Oh yeah,
you guys
no.
Don't know us. I'm new to the MLG community caster scene, so it's a great pleasure to be casting these series for you guys, especially here in Game 3. I love ace matches. I love them.
Who can't love a good series between really, two top-tier players?
It's so cool how you see players really start to get into each other's heads. That's where I love it, is really being like, okay, who's afraid of who, and how are they reacting to their fears, you know, because I feel like Minigun...
Oh, but hold on, because we have Minigun pushing in just momentarily there. We'll see that bunker down. Now, I think Minigun's just going to expand here now. Yes, has expanded. Sorry about that, Kibbles. Just talking about the game a little bit here. But we do see that Minigun has taken his expansion, now going to be throwing down some additional gateways. Hasn't thrown on a robo or anything like that just yet. Now, we did see Minigun play mostly gateways in the first 2 previous games. I don't think he's going to feel like there's going to be a threat of Banshees here in Game 3, so probably not going to go for the fast robo once again. We actually see a 3rd gateway getting added on, so definitely that will be the case. Although Kawaii will get into the base there, Minigun, and scout it out. Yeah. But going back to what you were saying, I definitely do agree with you 100%. There is nothing better than seeing 2 top-tier players slug it out on a map to a best-of-3 series, and there is nothing better than when you get to these ace match situations and all the pressure is on these players. They really are going to want to advance. It's huge to advance in these tournaments, especially when you are still in the winner's bracket. You do not want to fall to the loser's bracket ever in an MLG tournament, or in any tournament for that matter. When you're in a double elimination tournament, anytime you fall to that loser's bracket is going to be a long road to hoe for you if you're going to try and actually advance in the tournament. And there's a lot on the line here because the top spots is how people are going to get invited to the winter arena that's going to be happening in New York. So if you want to make it to that winter arena, have an opportunity to get a shot at some of the prize money that's going to be there for that winter arena. There is a lot on the line very early on here. Every single game so important in this winner's bracket.
So Kawaii has fallen back now on his build from game 1 in this series. He's using actually the exact same opening. He started stim at 6 minutes, which is precisely when he started it in game 1. He's following it up with the engineering bay, researching that +1 upgrades. Everything looking so similar to Antigua Shipyard right now, which surprises me a little because Kawaii lost that game, but perhaps he felt like remember, he did secure an early lead in that game. The first engagement, he absolutely crushed Minigun's army, and it was really his lack of medevacs that cost him the game, in combination with his bad positioning for his fourth. Dual Sight is not, I'm sorry, not Dual Sight, Daybreak here does not offer the same dynamics when it comes to expansions. A fourth is going to be a lot easier to secure in this bottom right-hand corner if he so desires. Perhaps he feels a little more confident with this build on this map.
Yeah, that definitely could be the case. Now, we do see that Minigun, though, has dropped down the double forge in this game, so playing this one a little bit differently, going very gateway heavy with a lot of early gateway upgrades, unlike we saw on Dual Sight or even on Antigua as well. Didn't really go for a lot of really, really fast upgrades, especially double forge upgrades with a more heavy gateway composition of units. So I'm not sure if Minigun's going to look to hit a timing here with this 6 gates finishing up, or if he just wants to have the fast upgrades for defensive purposes.
Yeah, he just threw down a Twilight Council, so you got to assume, he wants having the timing of that. He would want to throw it down earlier if he wanted to go for a timing attack here. Looks like it's just going to be defensive. Kawaii moving out with his units across the map right now. Gonna assert a little bit of map control here. I like that he's going to be able to make some medevacs with this build, which is going to make
always a plus for Terran.
Yeah, make it a lot better.
Yeah,
there are Colossus on the field, so he's not going to be forced into Vikings.
Really got medevac light in that last game. I think partially because he kind of lost a few Vikings here and there a little bit sooner than he would have liked to. A little bit of miscontrol with the Vikings here and there forced him to build a lot more Vikings to really keep himself in the game at all, to keep those Colossus from just mowing him over. And sadly, it was down to like 2-3 medevacs for most of that game, and every single stim, like you said in that previous game, was so crucial as to whether or not he was going to go for it. And we actually see him right now doing the Olympic sprint here with this Marine, trying to see how far he can get before he'll end up dying. And actually, he's going to just march right over into the natural here. Probably could have even gotten into the main of Minigun, but now that Marine will get cleaned up. But he did get some really essential scouting information. Got a gander at the army of Minigun. We'll see if there's no Colossus out as far as he can tell. And now going to be gearing up for a drop, so it looks like he wants to try and start getting aggressive here against Minigun.
Yeah, Minigun right now, I'm taking a look at his build, and for some reason, I'm just getting flashbacks to Creator Prime right now. I know that obviously he's the one who created this whole double.
Oh, but now there's a drop here in the main. And Minigun actually picks off one of the medevacs. That was actually a really big pick off there by Minigun. Because, of course, Marine Marauder type compositions.
So many of those units not getting picked up in that medevac. He's going to go back for a rescue mission there, Black Hawk down style, but doesn't manage to save anyone. And Minigun going to clean up everything there that Kawaii tried to risk.
Yeah, and as that happened, Kawaii went for a push to the imaginary third of Minigun that he thought would be there. Definitely was the right timing to go for that, but sadly for Kawaii, no third was actually down yet for Minigun. Minigun 2-basing really hard right now, trying to get out some upgrades. Has that Twilight Council, does have Blink already, does have Charge now on the way, is researching now his +2/+2, going for some really heavy upgrades here on his gateway units on 2 bases. And I actually like this play by Minigun to not take that third quite as early as a lot of players would take that third, because he was doing so much teching back behind it. Wouldn't have really been able to build any army had he been trying to expand and tech at the same time. So opting instead to not get run over in some kind of silly fashion by Kawaii. And instead it's like, well, if I'm going to be getting a lot of upgrades and my army might be hurting a little bit as a result of that, instead of trying to expand while I'm doing all that and really hurting my army production, I'll just go ahead and sit on 2 base a little longer, get some really good upgrades, and then take that third when my army's stronger. So I think a very smart move there by Minigun, but we do see the third now planted by Kawaii. So Minigun has his third going up. Is going to be a little bit behind, though, economically because of that, but will have some really good upgrades.
Yeah, he's throwing down a lot of production facilities right now. Going to start ramping that up as this third begins to kick in. One thing I want to point out for Kawaii is that, well, he's going to spot this pylon and take it out. He has a ton of medevacs. So this is one, going to let him do a lot of poke. But in addition to this, we saw on dual site, Kawaii pull off some beautifully executed drop play. Is he going to be able to do it here on Daybreak versus Minigun? He has the medevac count this time in order to do it if he can, you know, honestly pull it off. And Minigun didn't deal with the drop play so well. He was caught out of position time after time. I feel like it may be something that Kawaii would like to try to abuse here because it worked so well for him in that game 2. But remember, this is also the build that he used in game 1. So, and in game 1 he did almost no drop play whatsoever. There was really only one drop, and it had good success. It was just really the only drop he did the entire game. So we're gonna have to see exactly what Kawaii decides to rely on here. He has started making Vikings. His upgrades are looking pretty solid.
Yeah, he actually got a really good scan down while you were talking about that. Actually showed the viewers at home that scan and got a really good look at everything that Minigun was up to. Saw that Minigun had put down the Tech 4 Colossus, so immediately started building a handful of Vikings to support his army. So getting a jump on those Vikings. Huge for Kawaii, because that really takes away any kind of timings Minigun might have had where Kawaii would have been Vikingless against his Colossus by getting down that money scan right basically as Minigun had gone to Colossus production. Now we do have the 3-3 upgrades finishing up here for Minigun, so he's definitely going to have a very good amount of upgrades here against Kawaii for a little bit of time as those finish up. He will have that advantage, but he's going to still need to be careful because those Vikings already on the field. Only 4 Vikings right now, but only 2 Colossus. So maybe I'd like to have another 2 to 4 more Vikings as we actually see another one joining in. But at bare minimum does have some defense against those Colossus so that he will not have to deal with them without the Vikings at all, which is really the bane I think a lot of Terran players play. Probably the one thing a lot of Terran players worry about the most against Protoss is if they can hit those Colossus timings right and produce those Vikings in time to deal with them.
Kawaii's got 3-3 on the way right now, as well as ship weapons level 1, but 3-3 is completed for Minigun. Minigun is a great opportunity to move out in the very imminent future, but he's probably waiting for this storm research to complete. And when it does, there's still going to be a good 100 seconds or so left till +3/+3 is completed for Kawaii. In fact, his weapon's going to finish a little bit earlier. I would have loved to see during all of this downtime Kawaii doing some drop play, keeping Minigun busy, and just generally keeping his mind from doing what it wants. But it looks like he's trying to snipe a Viking with these, or Colossus with these Vikings. Not going to manage to do it. Kills a pylon, but I think Minigun is about to have had enough. His storm's going to complete here in 20 seconds, Nursky. And I think with it, he's going to move out.
Yeah, it looks like he might actually move out a little bit before the storm finishes. Going to need to be careful. Doesn't really have any High Templars with this army, though. Does charge in there. Going to engage. We see right now the battle going on. Vikings trying to snipe down all those Colossus. Actually doing a pretty good job at the same time. The charge Zealots just ripping apart the ground army of Kawaii. And while Kawaii will take out those Colossus and win the air battle of sorts, right now, Minigun just absolutely mopped the floor with Kawaii's ground army, and Kawaii could be in a lot of trouble. You see him now retreating immediately over here to his natural. Couple of misrallied units getting corralled in, and Minigun just racing across the map right now with the Templar in tow. He smells blood in the water after that engagement going lopsidedly in his favor, and those charge lots just got an amazing surround on the bio units. Maybe a little bit of a lack of micro on them out of Kawaii as he was trying to target fire down those Colossus. And his army just got absolutely ran over. Those 3-3 upgrades really paying off that Kawaii does not have yet.
You know, he let Minigun do whatever he wanted for such a long period of time. He did no harass, no drop play really whatsoever. And now Kawaii's paying the consequence of it. He's going to try to hold this push off with these Marines and Marauders. Command center has to lift up into the air here, but there's just so many charge lots and stalkers. Now the engagement positioning isn't ideal here for Minigun, so it looks like he's going to pull back. But Kawaii, man, it's tough to watch, but you know, he went up against that giant ball of death. They call it that for a reason, and it had 3-3 upgrades. He had 2-2. He had +1 ship weapons, but It's just that is not the strength of the Terran army. We've said it time and time again. And Kawaii didn't utilize drops at all. I was really hoping to see it with all the medevacs that he had. And he did one drop. We saw one drop into the natural a lot, or into the main base.
Yeah.
Way earlier.
Which was deflected quite easily there by Minigun.
Yeah, and you know, he really could have forced Minigun to be responding to threats. He didn't have to necessarily even do damage, just keep Minigun from doing what he wanted to do. Keep his mind in different places and his APM in different places. But now he's paying the prices. The maxed out Protoss army, a beautiful storm goes down for Minigun, and Kawaii gonna be retreating up his ramp here, but I fear it may just be too much. He has cleaned up all of the Colossi, but we're still looking at a 160 supply Protoss to just 120 here for Kawaii. I don't know if he's gonna be able to hold off this sustained pressure.
Yeah, we see right now a lot of units in the yellows and origins now for Kawaii. Had Minigun had another storm, he might have been able to just end this, but Kawaii actually being very resilient, even evening up the supply a lot here, as you see now, though, the almost instant re-up here by Minigun, as he does have quite a few resources banked, but not quite enough production to just instantly remax. Right back up to 142 supply, and that is really what could end up being the key in this game here, because Kawaii got a really good engagement there, did a lot of damage to Minigun. But right now, Minigun was such a huge economic lead that he is just able to start heading back towards remax. So you see tons of warpins going on over here almost instantly, whereas Kawaii, in a battle of attrition, he's eventually going to lose here, because he just does not have the economy to keep taking those kind of losses.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Minigun was able to secure that fort so easy. Kawaii didn't pressure him at all. I said as he wasn't dropping or anything. And he's really let Minigun run away with this game economically. And to Minigun's credit, he did a fantastic job realizing, okay, Kawaii, you're not going to drop me. I'm just going to mass expand everywhere and take advantage of the fact that my army doesn't have to run around like a chicken with its head cut off. And consequently, Minigun is, I mean, now remaxed. He's at 190. He's about ready to push out of here. He's going to kill these destructible rock and then go for the throat.
Yeah.
Kawaii is going to die.
I almost feel like Kawaii's only option in this scenario is to load up his medevacs and head somewhere else, because there is no way he's going to be able to take on this army. You see the army actually starting to move forward now. We see, of course, looks like Kawaii wants to try and maybe get some good EMPs off on this army. Does get a lot of really good EMPs off, but I just don't know if he has enough army to even make a difference despite the EMPs. We do see these ghosts doing a decent amount of work, because it does not appear that Minigun has any detection with him. A little bit of a mistake there on Minigun's part, as he's taking a lot of damage from these ghosts that are basically the sole army here of Kawaii, and Kawaii manages to hold on with just these ghosts, as Minigun forgot to bring his detection along with him.
He'll be returning home for that promptly, and Observer is popping out right about now. And, well, after it does so, I think we'll see what this next round of Warpins. Minigun immediately back up to 156 supply. He's going to push out against the 90 supply Kawaii Light. And I fear that the heavy-duty weaponry is going to wrap it up here on Daybreak as we hit peak sun, the zenith. I don't know, that sun's getting pretty high, man.
Yeah, I think that is definitely going to be the case. Now, I don't know if maybe Minigun had an observer and it got picked off by Kawaii, but I don't think I ever saw one with that army, so I was assuming that he probably just accidentally forgot to bring it with his army. That can happen to the best of players. But whether he picked it off or not, definitely did not have that observer, and those ghosts were doing a lot of damage as a result, but he's getting ready to move forward once again, going after his planetary. Not even a repair attempt by Kawaii. I think Kawaii realizes right now that there's not a whole lot he can do cloaking up those ghosts, but this time there is an observer present, so he will be able to fry all those ghosts away. And there's the GG out of Kawaii, and Minigun will take this series, Kibble, 2-1. So congrats to Minigun, as he will move on to the winner's bracket. I believe it should be round 4 now, and he'll still be in this. So Complexity Gaming's Minigun looking very good so far in this North American online qualifier for MLG here. Any closing thoughts on this series, Kibbles, before we head out of here?
Oh, just a huge congratulations goes out to Minigun, guys, and looking forward to casting more games for you here at MLG. Please give me feedback on what you thought, and make sure you follow MLG so you can see more of these excellent games. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kibbles, and
and of course I am Nursky as well, Kibbles. And we will see you guys later. So thank you very much for tuning in once again. Please follow the rest of these MLG broadcasts. Hope you guys have enjoyed these games here by Minigun and Kawaii Light. Thank you very much for tuning in. Peace out, guys.
Later.